Hey everybody, it is Dr. Debbie Pates. I'm going to get in close here today for a minute. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday, virtual yoga at GOCA. And I have a new computer. My hair looked okay when I started in the mirror at home. Anyway, forget that part. Um, I have a new computer, so I'm hoping that you guys can see me okay. It looks pretty good on my end. If you have been joining us for a while, and by a while I mean before we went virtual and we were actually still practicing in the gallery, you know that when after that you had to sign up to come participate, and we asked you then to fill out a survey that was sent to your email. And because we're virtual right now, we really don't have the capacity to send emails to you unless we had your email. Anyway, maybe somebody could track that, but I have no idea how to do that. Anyhow, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Sorry. We have a new survey, and I am about to put the link to the survey, I believe, yes, in the comments section. Okay, and now I'm gonna back up. So if you would please, after we practice today, go into the comments section and leave your feedback. That would be great. If you've done the survey before, we've added a few new questions based on our being virtual. I was going to ask a question. Some of them are about format. Some of them are about, would you like to see some kind of special classes? I was going to ask a question about if you wanted to have guest instructors, but then I thought, well, if you wanted a guest instructor, you could just do somebody else's yoga video. So if you get sick of me as the instructor, then there are so many wonderful instructors, both people who are in town, own studios here that eventually we will be able to go back to, and also yoga instructors such as Brian Kest, who I talk about a lot. You could go on YouTube. I've never done yoga with Adrian, or I think that's what it's called, but a lot of people really love that. So if you're sick of me, please continue to practice. Just find other people to mix it up a little bit. And if you, again, please fill out the survey. Some of the questions are still the same. Yeah, I guess that's about all I need to tell you right now. So why don't we practice some yoga? I was looking at my, to title this, I was looking at, because I just been numbering it, and I looked back at YouTube where I archived these, and I noticed that last week I had my fire going, and today I almost opened up my window. I was sitting outside before. So crazy Colorado weather. Let's love it. Let's come into child's pose. Spread your knees or keep your knees together. Let your forehead rest on the mat. And as always, I am going to make a lot of suggestions. And what I want you to do is use my suggestions as a guide. I want you to hear what I say, but don't do what I say unless you feel that that's a good suggestion for you. So hear me, but listen to your body. And in Buddhism, there is a concept called beginner's mind. And beginner's mind means doing everything as if it were the first time. And if it's so hard. It's a lovely concept, but so hard to do. Right, we fall into patterns. Somebody says something, we roll our eyes because they've said it a million times. But what if we could hear it with new ears? And what if the person talking is your body? So what if instead of just saying, oh, you stupid old injury, I'm not going to pay any attention to you, you listen with new ears. You approach these shapes that we're going to put our body in with a beginner's mind, with how is this going to suit me today? And then you go from there. So in child's pose, allow the breath to deepen and broaden your back. Allow yourself to settle in here, to ground. And breathe. And if that's all you do this whole practice, let that be enough. You know, when one time I went to a yoga practice, and the instructor, after we started in child's pose, and then the instructor said, okay, now do whatever. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to. So you know what? The beauty of practicing at home especially is if you don't want to, you don't have to. If being in child's pose for 25 minutes and then flipping over onto your back for another 25 minutes is what is going to work best for you today, then honor that. Honor that. Mindfulness is paying attention to what is without judging it or needing it to be different. And yoga is a mindfulness practice. So if it does seem like a good idea for you to keep on moving, then if your arms are not stretched out in front of you, stretch your arms out in front of you and really plant your palms about shoulder width distance. Tuck your toes, lift your knees off the ground, and come on into down dog. So if you have come right into down dog from child's pose, that's a little bit of a shorter down dog. Well, for me, that's a bit of a shorter down dog than I like. So make adjustments. Maybe you walk your hands forward a little bit or walk your feet back a little bit, turning this posture into something comfortable but challenging, right? We don't want to be so comfortable that we could practically fall asleep, but we don't want to be so challenged that we don't want to do this anymore. So finding a place where you're getting sensation, it's okay if you shake a little bit. But if you're in that mind state of like, if you're going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, when is this going to be done? Back off. Make your pose shorter or longer. Or maybe even you drop your knees and take a rest. At any time, even though we just began this practice, right? You don't want to fight something that you're choosing to do. Right? If you came to this saying, oh, I should do yoga, why? Why should you do yoga? And if you can come up with some good reasons, then instead of saying I should, say I choose to. And if you're choosing to do yoga, then be present in your practice. You want to come to yoga, be present. Be present with your breath, with your body, and with what you're choosing to do. From downward facing dog, drop your right knee onto the ground. Turn your left foot flat. Lean onto your right hand and lift your left arm to the sky. Half modified plank. You can lift your left leg up if you want, parallel to the ground. That's going to challenge your balance a little bit. We won't be here that long. So instead of saying, oh God, we're starting here and getting into a big dialogue, get it while you can. If your foot is up, put your foot back down, put your arm down, step your right foot back to high plank, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, roll over your toes, downward facing dog. Drop your left knee, turn your right foot flat, and open up. Modified side plank, lift your right arm up, and if you choose, lift your right leg up. And maybe you could find some freedom in your upper body, kind of opening, allowing your right arm to open, or you don't want to. Maybe you're reaching through your heel or your toes, and then bring your right foot down if it's up, bring your right hand down if it's up, step back to high plank position, lower chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog, exhale, downward facing dog. And if you are choosing to do yoga, notice how you're showing up throughout the practice. Take a bunch of baby steps, walk to the top of your mat, and hang in ragdoll. Feet about hip width distance, maybe a little firmness in your stomach, right? Most low back injuries occur when people are bending over. So if we can get in a habit of some engagement in our stomach, which feels weird in this position, but that also protects the back, right? The front and backs of our bodies work in collaboration with each other, in partnership. Hanging here in ragdoll, paying attention to Okay, how is my body today? Maybe you want to sway, maybe you want to find stillness. Breathing, becoming really conscious of the breath. And then make a choice where you want your feet to be, hip width distance, together, whatever you like best. And with a firm stomach, roll up to standing. And firm stomach, you guys, has nothing to do with what you weigh or what you look like. It's muscle activation underneath whatever else may or may not be there. Shoulders up and back and down. Tadasana. I was taking a class one time with Kat Tudor, who is one of our wonderful local instructors and owns what's it called, Sunwater Spa in Manitou. This posture that we're in with our arms down by our sides is called Tadasana, mountain pose. And with your arms up, inhale your arms up. Have your palms in whatever, actually have your palms facing forward. And then drop your shoulders. So you're standing with your arms up, palms facing forward, drop your shoulders. So with your palms facing each other, it's called extended mountain pose, Tadasana. And I was taking a class with Kat Tudor and she said, ta-da, Tadasana, here I am, ta-da. And I thought that was so lovely. Why I asked you to turn your palms forward, which is not traditional, traditionally they'd be facing each other, is because this is what's known as a power pose. And there's been research that's been done that says that when we stand in poses like this is a power pose, hands on your hips is a power pose, we actually feel better. We feel more powerful. And this is a time when, wow, don't we need to step into our power? So many changes, so much uncertainty. Stand here, ta-da, here I am, stepping into my power. Ha. And then bring your hands closer together. Turn your palms together, bring them together, and bring your hands into your heart. And for a moment, maybe roll your shoulders up and back and down. Maybe close your eyes and think about one thing that it would mean to you to step into your power. And that doesn't mean, having power over someone else. Maybe that means I'm going to say no to that thing, or I'm going to eat a cookie today. What would it mean for you to step into your power? It means being most authentically yourself and making decisions because you choose to, not you should. One thing perhaps. I'll talk more about that. Inhale your arms up. Bring your hands together, overhead, and hands through heart center or swan dive forward with a flat back as long as you can. Your hamstrings will tell you when you need to round or maybe softly bend your knees. Halfway lift, lengthen again. Engagement in your stomach. Forward fold and then engage. Rise with a flat back. Sweep your arms up. Palms together overhead. And pull your energy, your intention into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Forward fold. Lengthen. Inhale. Engage. Forward fold. Take the length and engagement down and sweep your arms out and up. Rise. One more time. Hands together. And pull your hands into your heart. Actually, that's not one more time. We're going to rise lots more times. Inhale your arms up. Again, and let's take it further and forward fold. Lengthen. Put your hands down underneath your shoulders and step back, high plank. You can always put your knees down in high plank. Chaturanga, lower halfway or all the way to laying on the ground. Keep your elbows in by your sides, really hugging them in. Really actually even put some pressure on your rib cage if you can. And then up, opening your heart, and down, down dog. Breathe. Look in between your hands and step your right foot forward, followed by your left. Halfway lift, engage. Breathe in. Exhale, forward fold, sweep up. Rise, bring your hands together overhead. And pull your intention into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Forward fold. lengthen, fold, step back, high plank. So bring your hands, make sure they're underneath your shoulders, and turn your elbows so that the crease in the front of your wrists, the crease in front of your elbows is facing forward, or the crease in your elbows is facing forward. And then hinge forward a little bit and lower, and with your hands in that position, as you lower, you're gonna be hugging your rib cage. Just really noticing, engaging your triceps here, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale and dog. Breathing consciously, breathing fully, breathing through your nose if possible. Look in between your hands and step your left foot forward, followed by your right. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep up, rise, hands come overhead. Bring your hands together and bring your hands into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold. Lengthen. Hands down, high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, followed by your left. Halfway lift. Fold. Rise. Bring your hands together and into your heart. Lift your arms up. Forward fold. Lengthen. Fold, high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, followed by your right. Halfway lift. Fold. Rise all the way up to standing. Hands together overhead. Hands to your heart. Woo, feel your heart beating. Feel your breath coming in and out. Inhale your arms up. Chair, Utkatasana. Really commit to this chair pose. So make sure you can look down and see your toes. Maybe you even can lift your toes up. And if you can't see your toes, then bring your knees back enough that you can. Have your hands somewhere that you can continue to breathe, that you're not becoming agitated, right? So this practice is not intended to create tension, right? It doesn't mean it's not hard. But sometimes the tension is actually how we are reacting to this posture, right? So the, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, how long am I going to be here? Well, you don't really know. So how could you make it be, get it while you can, rather than fighting what you're choosing to do? Forward fold. See, it didn't last forever anyway. Halfway lift, inhale, forward fold, step back, high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, stay on your left heel, rise up crescent. So sink into your right knee. You can always drop your left knee onto the ground if you want, or keep your left knee lifted. Maybe you work on straightening your left knee, but for some people that puts tension in the low back. If that's you, don't do that. If that's you, bend your knee, back knee, and tuck your pelvis a little bit more. Bring your torso over your thigh, bring your arms back, airplane arms, rise, back up, warrior two, spin your left foot flat, right knee tracks out, reaching forward, reaching back, and then windmill your hands down, step back, high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, rise up crescent. Left heel, right heel this time stays up. Again, check in with your low back. Breathing. Back knee can be dropped if you want, or you keep it up. You make those choices, and then open up, warrior two. So obviously if your back knee was down, you would need to lift it. Really just finding warrior two here. Making this an active posture. All right, again, why fight something you're choosing to do? Get it while you can. Sinking into your left knee, tracking it outward, and then come back down, high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, 2, downward facing dog, look in between your hands and step, jump, hop, walk, whatever, to the top of the mat, halfway lift, inhale, exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, Utkatasana, stand up, bring your hands together overhead, and bring your hands to your heart, inhale your arms up, chair, fold, lift, high plank, lower, up dog, keep on breathing, downward facing dog, step your right foot forward, spin your back foot flat this time, warrior 1, clasp your, let's just hang out in warrior 1 for a sec. I was going to keep moving pretty fast, but warrior 1, so feel the difference, actually be here in warrior 1, your back foot is flat, and then notice your left hip point that's, the one facing forward here, and then turn your toes up to crescent, or I meant your heel up. Turn your back heel up to crescent. Notice now how your hip point is really facing a lot more forward, and then try to keep your hip in that position and spin your back foot flat. Of course, it's going to open a little bit for most of us. Okay, so there's your warrior 1. Clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your palms together. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open up your heart. Open up your heart. How about open up your heart to yourself with compassion? Find compassion for yourself. Letting go of one of those shoulds, or even just becoming aware of, wow, I really beat myself up about that. Open your heart up to yourself, and then bow forward. Bring your right elbow, or shoulder rather, inside your right knee, humble warrior. Let your hands come off your back. Try to keep your right hip somewhat in line, not jetting out too much. Breathe, and really squeezing your shoulders, getting it while you can, yeah? And then rise back up, warrior 1, and just come on down. Actually come to the inside of your right foot here. Come up on your back toes, drop your back knee, and let's take a runner's lunge here. We'll mix it up a little bit. So scoot your right foot up and sink down to whatever degree you can. Bringing your elbows down perhaps. You want to untuck your back toe, unless there's also an active runner's lunge where you could keep your back knee up. Beginning to open up the hip. Open up the glute muscle, open up the thigh, whatever it is you're feeling, low back, just, allow yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling. And then bring your foot back in. We'll do more hip openers later. Bring your foot back into center, hands on either side of that foot. Tuck your left toe, lift your left knee. Step your right foot back, high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, opening up your heart to downward facing dog. And pause here. And notice if you feel any difference between the two sides of your body. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. Step your left foot forward, spin your right foot flat, warrior 1. And pause here. Biceps are by your ears. Sink into your left knee. And then bring your right hand onto maybe your right hip point. Notice where it is. And then spin your heel on your right foot up. And then bring your hand down again if you, or for the first time. And feel how it's much easier in crescent to have your hips facing forward. But warrior 1 is supposedly an open hip, a closed hip rather, position. So then try warrior 1. Give it a try. And then clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open up your heart. And how about send out some compassion to People on the other side. We're so divided now. People on the other side, whatever that means to you, continue to sink into your left knee, but you're rising up from your heart, and then bow left shoulder to the inside of your left knee. Runner, humble warrior, lifting your hands off your back, trying to keep your left hip from jutting out too much, releasing your neck. And then come up, hands to the inside, drop your right knee down, runner's lunge. And as always, let this side be what it is. We use our body differently, one side to the other. Right? So part of that presence is recognizing that beginner's mind. This is where my body is today. And that's okay. That's okay. Imagine what it might be like if you could really be in that space of acceptance for yourself. And if you could really be in a space of acceptance for yourself, we would have less need for other people to be what we need them to be as well. Bring your foot back to center. Hand on either side of your left foot. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. And send your left foot back to meet your right. High plank. Down a low plank. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. And now feel both sides. Do you notice a difference? So we've done the same things on both sides now. Before, I know I had a lot of sensation in one side and a different sensation in the other, and they feel a bit more even now. Look in between your hands, make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Utkatasana, chair pose. Stand up, bring your hands together, and bring your hands into your heart. Inhale your hands up. Grab your left wrist with your right hand, and what in Bikram they call half moon. We'll do a different half moon later. Pulling your left hand over to the right as you send your left hips out. Come on back, center, switch sides. First inhale up, and then grab your right wrist with your left hand and pull your right to the left as you push your right hip out. Trying to open to the side. Don't worry about how far down you go. Don't worry about anything. But try to stay open rather than looking for some illusion of depth. Come on back to the center and swan dive. Forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Let's do just a couple of those. Almost like you're fluttering in the breeze. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. One more time, inhale, lift. Exhale, fold, put your hands down. High plank, chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bend your knee and open up your hip. Maybe make some circles here. It feels good. And then come on back to a three-legged dog. So your right leg is lifted. And then shift forward so that your shoulders are over your wrists. And bring your right knee over to your left elbow and hover here. Hover. Really working those side muscles. And then extend your right leg out. Put the edge of your right foot on the ground. Spin your left foot flat and roll open, similar to what we did at the beginning here. Push your hips up, a different version of a side plank. Lift your hips up, and then keep your foot where it is. Bring your left hand down. And this is, well, you could bring your toes, left heel up. What I want you guys to do is get a sensation on the outside of your right leg. That would be your IT band. And if you're not feeling much, you can bend your elbows and lower your upper body. All right. Come on back up. Three-legged dog. Shift forward again. You might have to walk your foot in. Shift forward again and bring your right elbow to the outside of your right knee. Three-legged dog. I meant your right knee to the outside of your right elbow. Three-legged dog. Bring your leg through. Rise up. Warrior one. Now open warrior two. Reach forward. Extended side angle. Maybe bring your bicep by your ear and your palm facing down, reaching all the way from the edge of your left foot to your tips of your left fingertips. Maybe using your right arm as leverage to roll open, and then reverse your warrior. Right knee continuing to reach forward as this time you reach away with your right fingertips, and then windmill down. Hoo-wee. High plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. We'll rest soon. Left leg up, bend your knee, open up your hip. Circles if you like, if it feels good. And then bring your left leg back up and bring your left knee across your body towards your right elbow and hover. Pause. It's okay if it's hard. Maybe we put ourselves in these hard positions to see how we show up. Extend. The edge of your left foot is on the ground. Spin your right foot flat and roll open. And breathe. Right? What if that's why we practice yoga. To say, do I like how I'm showing up here? Do I like how I'm showing up on the mat? And is how I show up on the mat maybe a reflection of how I show up in my life? Right hand down, hello IT band. And if you're not feeling enough, maybe you lower your elbows, you lower your chest, bend your elbows. Come on back up, three-legged dog. Step through, low lunge. If you feel like, ooh, this is hard, I feel that way too. Rise up, warrior one. Open, warrior two. Extended side angle, bicep by your ear. Palm facing forward. Reach from the edge of your right foot all the way through your right fingertips. Opening up your chest, using your arm on your leg or the floor to help facilitate that opening, and then keep your left knee bent, reverse warrior. This time, left knee and left fingertips are moving away from each other. Breathe. Be present, and then windmill down. High plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Stay in down dog, or take a child's pose. You can have done that at any time, of course, right? But if you've been with me, notice how your body's feeling right now. Really strong beginning there, really strong flow. Just see how you're showing up. Take a rest if you need to. You're not a bad person if you choose to take a rest. In fact, I would totally be in child's pose, except then my voice would be muffled because I'm speaking directly to the floor. Don't be a hero, right? Be humble. Or a martyr. And then from child's pose or down dog, wherever you are, come to your knees. Walk to the top of your mat. Spread your feet wider than your hips. Sit in between your feet. Virasana, hero's pose. Ha! Maybe I did that subconsciously. Said hero, because I knew we were coming here. And you know to go. If you need to sit on a block here, sit on a block here. If you have more latitude, walk back, maybe all the way till you're laying on the floor. You can spread your knees. You need to keep your knees together. but you want to keep your knees on the ground. If you're laying all the way back onto your back, maybe clasp opposite elbow above your head. You're going to feel a very strong arch in your spine here. Only go as far as what's right. Again, you know, when I did this pose years ago, it would be easy for me all the time to lay down on my back. And my body doesn't like that so much anymore. And wouldn't that be rude of me to jam my body into that position? Wouldn't that be unkind for me to say, no, you need to do what you used to do 20 years ago? Right? It's like when you say, love ya, don't change. Well, if you never saw that person again until like your 25th college reunion, you would expect them to change, right? It would be absurd if they hadn't changed. Give yourself that same latitude. We age whether we like it or not. Come on back up. And if you're young, enjoy what you have. Enjoy it. It is a beautiful gift. It's a blessing. Come on back up to hands and knees. And when you get to hands and knees, extend out your left leg and then extend out your right arm. Let's do what we did again a little bit. And notice how it feels differently here. So inhale, lift, engage, and then exhale, curl, knee to elbow. Kind of taking a bit of a cat spine here. Reach out, curl, inhaling as you unfurl, exhaling as you tuck. Reach out one more time, bend your left knee, reach back with your right arm, and grab onto your left foot and kick into it to one more time, open up your shoulder here. Go as far as feels good, and be sensitive to that. What does that mean as far as feels good? Are you soothing your ego? Or are you allowing your body to speak to you? And maybe sometimes, you know, feels good is further than what you usually go. Release, stretch your arms and legs out one more time, and put it down and switch. Left arm out, right leg out. First reach, lift your limbs, and then exhale, cat your spine, knee to elbow, inhale back out. Inhale, or exhale rather, curl. Inhale, reach. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach, bend your right knee, reach back with your left hand. Grab the foot, ankle, and kick. So think about that. Think about sometimes what feels best for your body is pushing a little bit harder than what you're used to. Lifting a little bit more and, ooh, I get a nice stretch there, or, you know, whatever. You don't build, well, I'm going to not say that. Release, stretch your left arm out, right leg out, and put them down. Walk your hands forward a little bit. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, downward facing dog. Down dog can be a resting pose as well, right? A home base. And you can begin to notice how you feel in down dog. You know, on the first time probably you did down dog, it was super awkward. And then the next time you get more used to it, until eventually it becomes just this really comfortable pose for your body. And isn't doing anything new like that. When we first do it, it's uncomfortable, it's challenging. Even if we like it right away, right? It's still different. And then it becomes easier, and more comfortable, and that doesn't need to be a bad thing, right? Like your favorite sweater. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, Utkatasana chair pose. Bring your hands together and let's twist. Hands together, bring them to your heart. Left elbow to the outside of your right knee. You can straighten your arms if you like. Spread your wings. Some people do like that, some people don't like that. Experiment with how it feels to you. And then release, forward fold. Separate your feet, hip width distance, and slide your hands, palms up underneath your feet, gorilla. Halfway lift-ish, knees very bent to protect whatever needs protecting. And then fold. Getting length. Getting depth. Getting real with what you're experiencing. Being present in this moment. Feeling your feet on your hands. Feeling your hands on your mat. Feeling your stomach on your thighs. Feeling the backs of your legs. Feeling your butt, your shoulders. Feeling what you feel. Being present in your own life. Because if you don't get it while it's going to be over all too soon. Release your hands from underneath your feet. Big toes into touch. Bend your knees. Chair pose, rise. Hands to your heart. And twist right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Find the pose. Spread your wings if you want. Maybe you give it a try and then you determine if it feels good. And then release, and let's take crow. Just plain old crow, not fancy side crow like we did last time, even though I couldn't remember it at first. Okay, so palms underneath your shoulders. Spread your knees. You know what? If you haven't gone into crow already and you're hearing my instructions, have your toes, big toes together and knees together, and bring your palms kind of out in front of you a little bit, shoulder width, and then spread your knees, but keep your toes together. And then lower your upper body, so you're in this crouch, and really try to get really tight in there, and get your knees as high as you can on your triceps, on the outsides of your arms, as close up toward your armpits as you possibly can. And then lift your head a little bit. Look up toward the very edge of your mat, or even beyond, depending on your position. And then, so you're in this almost like this little frog pose, yeah? And then start to shift forward, putting more weight in your hands, lifting your butt up, keep your head lifted, and then maybe you can just keep lifting. And let one foot rise and then the other. And take a few real honest breaths here. If crow is easy for you, try straightening your arms in it. That adds to the challenge. Some people can even lift up into a handstand from here. I am not one of those people. And then come on down. And lift, straighten your legs. Forward fold. And roll up to standing. Whew. Nice job, you guys. This isn't an easy practice. Take some breaths. Take a breath. Take a drink if you need to. I need to. It's never an easy practice. This is a harder practice because it's so much more physical than some of them that we do. Let's do some balancing. Actually, we'll do a balancing in a minute. Come to the top of your mat again. We're going to make our way down soon. If you have a block, we're going to do the other half moon now. Not quite now. But if you like using a block and half moon, get your block and have it handy. You'd want it up toward the top of your mat on the, center, right side, whatever. Okay. Inhale your arms up. Forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. High plank. Low plank. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, bring it through, low lunge. Spin your right foot flat. Rise to warrior one, and then right away open up to warrior two. Straighten your right knee and move into triangle. So reach forward, keeping your right body open to the right side. So you're turning your body to the side and then you tilt. You want to try to keep length in both sides of your body. Your left arm lifts up. Maybe you look up and see your left hand right over your face. Maybe you use your bottom hand as leverage again. One more time, opening your body to the side. Let it feel good. Feeling what you feel. And here we go to half moon. So look down, bend your right knee, and launch forward. Lift your left foot up, parallel to the ground. So maybe you can have your right foot, your right hand rather, on the ground directly underneath your right shoulder. Maybe it's easier for you to have your hand on a block like me. Maybe you don't have your hand on anything and you just kind of hover, challenging your balance a little bit more here even. And then bring your hands to your heart and look down. Turn your body toward the ground and then extend your arms out back behind you into a airplane. And notice how at first you're probably a little bit rounded, so then reconnect. Lengthen your spine. Lengthen your arms. Hands back to heart center. Step back, but a shorter step. Have your feet facing forward. Hands to your hips. Lift and steering wheel your hips so that your right hip comes back even with your left. Lift your left arm up. Come halfway down. If you want, grab your block on the way. Try to keep your legs straight. You can put your left hand underneath your right shoulder and go in a twisting triangle. Left hand under your right shoulder. Left hand on your right shin. Left hand on the block or floor outside your right foot. And then lift your right arm up and maybe follow that with your gaze. And then bring your right hand down. Check my time here. Okay, good. Bring your right hand down and just walk your feet, turn your feet parallel. We're coming into wide-legged forward fold. Walk your feet parallel and allow yourself just to sink down here. Feet parallel or even a little bit pigeon-toed. And you know what? Keep walking. Keep walking your torso over. Your feet are stable. Walk your torso over to your left foot. Bring your left hand and forearm behind your left calf and grab onto your right ankle or somewhere on the outside of your left foot with your right hand. Twisting here. Come on back to center. Turn your right foot forward and come all the way to the top of your mat. Rise back, so you're in a lunge. Rise back up to warrior one. And then just take it down. Step back, high plank, chaturanga, up, dog, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward. Spin your right foot flat, have your block positioned. Warrior one, warrior two. Straighten your left knee. Reach, 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 Trikonasana triangle. This side of the body is not the same as the other side of your body. So don't try to make it be. Instead, enjoy its uniqueness. And enjoy might be hard if this is the tighter side or the more injured side or whatever. So maybe appreciate, maybe be kind to. It's the only body you've got. Take care of it. And then let's turn this into half moon. So bending your left knee, stepping up and forward. Hand can hover, hand can be on a block. Trying to maintain that openness. Body open to the right side, your right side, whatever that is. And then bring your hands into your heart, airplane. Bring your arms behind you, re-engage. Lift through your spine, reach through your feet, your fingertips. Woo. Bring your hands back. Did we come back to half moon? Yeah, we did. And then step back, right. Keep your block with you. Smaller step. Maybe we didn't come back to half moon, sorry. Anyway, where we're going, twisting triangle. Hands onto your hips. Bring your right hip forward, left hip back. Lift your right arm. Come halfway down. Put your right hand underneath your right shoulder, left shin, outside your left foot on a block or not. Maybe lift your left arm. Maybe follow the arm with your gaze. And then come back to center. This time simply step your right foot back a little bit, bend your left knee, rise up, warrior one, and then bring your hands down. Step back, high plank, and lower all the way to the ground, laying on the ground. Turn your head to one side, left ear on the mat. Bring your left chin, you only have one chin. Bring your shoulder away from your, what do I mean? Bring your chin away from your shoulder, but keep your left ear on the mat. Palms alongside your body, facing up. Maybe you rock your hips, left to right a little bit. Maybe bend your knees and do that. And then come on back down. Bring your head to center and bend your knees. Come on into bow. So grab the outsides of your feet. Maybe you grab your ankles, whatever feels good. Whatever your body lets you do. And then on an inhale, lift everything up. In Kundalini, in every different school of yoga, they teach you something different here. So Bikram says, make yourself like a teardrop. Well, everybody's really going for that if your spine is flexible enough. Some schools of yoga, but Bikram says don't move. But in Kundalini, they say rock back and forth with your breath. And if you want, you can even rock back and forth on purpose because it's fun. Or you just find something static. And then whatever you've been doing, come back to center, release, come down, opposite ear on the mat. And again, try to move your chin away from your shoulder if you can. Feeling your heart pounding into the earth. Feeling your tops of your hands, tops of your feet, thighs on the mat. Feeling your low back. And then maybe if you want, wiggling your hips side to side again, if that feels good. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and just push up onto your hands and knees. And we're gonna just go straight into pigeon. Bring your right knee forward. Scoot your left knee back. Maybe bring your right knee out as wide as the edge of your mat. Scoot your left knee back and just come on forward into sleeping pigeon. Sometimes this is called. And begin to relax. So there's the ebb and there's the flow. Right? There's so much uncertainty these days, so much shifting and changing, and we think things are getting better with COVID, and then the numbers start rising again, and we shut down again, and there's fear around hospital beds, and there's fear around economic, businesses closing, but there's also hope. There's a vaccine coming up. Things ebb and flow, and what we practice is what grows. What we practice is what we get good at. And that does not mean don't acknowledge what it is that you're feeling. If you want to stay right where you are in pigeon, do that. But you can also come up and lift your upper body, bend your left knee, and reach back with your right hand and grab your right foot. Or that's your left foot. Some people, not me, can go further and come up with their torso Well, I could do that. And then maybe you can bring your foot into the crook of your elbow. And if you're one of those really flexible people, you can lift your left arm up and back and clasp your foot. Otherwise, you're just staying in pigeon. What we practice is what we get good at. So again, that doesn't mean don't acknowledge what you're feeling. If you're in queen pigeon, release. If you're in regular pigeon, come on up. And let's just sit over onto your right hip. Swing your left foot around, swing your right foot around, just switch. Pigeon on this side, left knee forward. But hope is a muscle. And we have to practice hope as well. We have to strengthen that muscle. Strengthening the muscle of acceptance. Strengthening the muscle of being present. Strengthening what you want to have strong and present in your life, right? There's always good things happening and there's always bad things happening, and sometimes we have to allow ourselves to feel those bad things, but that doesn't mean we need to dwell on them, right? And I'm not saying if you have a day where it's hard to get yourself out of those thoughts, that's okay. But we also allow ourselves to move out of them. We allow ourselves to remember the good stuff. We allow ourselves to strengthen the muscle of hope. Strengthen the muscle of acceptance. If you want to take queen pigeon, bring your torso up, bend your right knee, reach back with your left hand, and take it further if you want and are able. Maybe bringing your left foot into the crook of your right arm, and then maybe reaching your right arm up behind you and clasping hands. Or just staying where you are in regular old pigeon. And then wherever you are, release, come on up. Sit onto your left hip. Swing your right foot around. Let's take let's take Paschimottanasana. No, I changed my mind again. Bring your feet out in front of you and roll down. Roll down. Hands by your sides and keep rolling. Come into plow. Bring your feet over your head toward the floor behind you. Maybe your hands come onto your low back. Maybe your feet can touch the floor. If your feet touch the floor, you can take your hands and clasp them along the floor. If your feet don't touch the floor, then maybe keep your hands on your low back as support. If you want to take shoulder stand, bring your hands to your low back if they're not already there. Lift your feet up. And let's take a few breaths in shoulder stand. Reversing gravity, taking an inversion here. Don't turn your head side to side to protect your neck in this shape. You want to have your hips leaning into your hands. So there's definitely some weight on your elbows here. It's not the most comfortable shape to put your body in. But again, does that matter? Or is it how we show up? Right? So if you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, excruciating pain, well then you get out of this immediately. This isn't such a good position if your head is like boom-bitty, boom-bitty, boom, pounding, right? High blood pressure. But if you're just a little bit uncomfortable, if we're holding this a little longer than you wanted to, then I invite you to stay. I invite you to stay. But we don't have enough time to stay as long as I'd like. So bring your feet back to the floor, overhead, hands back on the floor, and roll out. And when your butt touches the ground, hug your knees in, rock left to right. Keep your right leg hugged in, left leg long, spinal twist. Breathing into your low back. Back up to center. Hug both knees in, right leg long. Bring your left knee across, spinal twist. Bring your knees back in if you want, or just roll onto your back. Shavasana, final resting pose. Well earned every day, especially well earned today. Let your body be heavy. Let the floor support you. Right? So some postures are different. Some postures are harder because, practices. Some practices are harder because they're slow and they force you to slow down and be present with yourself and the space and the time. And some postures are harder because they're quicker and they challenge you physically, they challenge your breath more. We talked last week about busy yoga for busy people. So that's a different kind of challenge, right? You get to catch yourself like, ha ha ha, I'm doing this really great. And then say, is this about doing it really great? Well, yes, it's about feeling good. But it's also about staying present with what's showing up and seeing if you like it. I love a hard practice. Brings you out in a different way. There's room for both. So what I want to hear from you is what you like best. So please go into the comments section after class, click on the link and send us your feedback. What do you like? What do you want to see more of? I'm going to leave you guys here in Shavasana today. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again next week. I think that's the 16th of December, Wednesday, noon. Namaste. And before I turn this off, oh boy. I was hoping to show you guys my dog. Maybe you could see him.